Okay, this looks like everything's here that I need. Well, welcome. I'm Joyce, and this is my channel, Mystic Soul Insights. Today, I've got a great show for you. I'm doing a double guest. I have both Chuck Dransfield and Anastasia, um, and I'm going to be doing both of their charts together. So I'm going to be doing a synastry, talking about synastry, what that is, and then I'm going to do their composite chart and give them as best a reading as I can. So I hope you enjoy it. If you haven't already and you think you're going to like this, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to first introduce my guests, and then we'll get busy with the chart.
Hi.
Oops.
Nice. We're looking forward to this today. Can you hear
yes, I am too. Where are you? You're just so little here.
Oh yeah, we're just a little bitty screen there, but we're here. We're little but mighty.
Tiny.
I know. How do I get you any bigger? Okay, well,
we ask ourselves that same question every day.
Oh God. What is going on here?
There we are. Hey. Hi.
We're very big, but we have no Joyce.
It's we that got big. The pictures that got small, said Norma Desmond.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
How are you?
Debbie, are you there?
Are you there?
Is
Joyce there?
Joyce.
Did we lose Joyce?
Joyce, did we lose you? Let me turn on.
Oh, yeah, here I am.
Here you are.
Down here on the bottom.
To see that.
Yeah.
At least I can talk to you.
You can talk to us.
I did that. I did some strange things here. So I have Chuck Dransfield and Anastasia Pavlov. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
And they are really good friends, and they do some great things together. They were here they were together for the Academy Awards, the pre-Academy Awards.
Oh, yes.
And I had a funny show. I really enjoyed it. It was really funny.
We brought our Joan.
They were saying, you've done both of our charts. How about what would our charts look like together? And I looked at it a little bit, and I thought, oh, yeah, that would be an easy thing to do.
I thought since you've done your charts.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
Well, since you've done your charts, and usually when you think of a relationship chart, you think of it as a love partnership. Well, I thought, why not do it between two friends, two close friends?
You could do it between two friends, two people working together, what kind of a relationship you might have, what kind of, you can look for at the composite chart. And then you can look and see what kind of things do they have in their natal charts that would be maybe a trigger for the other person. Like you're working with someone and they're just not the nicest person, you can find out maybe that you don't ever want to talk to them about something. Yeah.
Oh my. Well, we're on live.
You can survive in your chosen profession until you get moved to another office with a different boss or something. Yeah, so astrology comes in handy in a lot of ways. If you just can't figure out why something's not working out with someone, if you can get them to tell you your birthday, tell them you're starting a birthday club or something. But then they'll wonder why you're asking for what time were you born, by the way?
That's where they get a little suspicious.
Yeah. Where were you born?
Where were you born?
Were you born here?
Yeah.
What's your mother's maiden name, the last four of your social?
What's your bank PIN number?
At least I don't have to ask those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put up your synastry. Now this is the synastry. There's a wheel and then there's an outer wheel. And what you'll see is you'll see one person's chart lined up with another person's chart. And whoever I picked, I don't know which one's going to come up, but I did them both ways. And we'll see, and then we'll both get to talk about it. So I'm going to try to go over here to this chart and put this one up.
Ooh.
There we are. And I would like to stack us up a little bit differently so we can see this better.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't know whose that is.
I don't know how I made it like this, but I did.
Oh, that's me. I see my name up there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to move you, but it's not moving. Okay. Maybe I just need to exit full screen so I can see what I'm doing.
Okay.
Drag to move. Oh, that's what I'm trying to do. For some reason, my computer won't drag anything.
Yeah. Yeah. You have a new computer. You're.
That's not what I wanted to do.
No, it's tiny.
No, it's tiny, but we see you.
I think this is a metaphor for how I've had to drag Chuck along with me all these years.
Yes.
No.
No. Oh, it's all good.
No, everything's perfect.
It's all good. Even
Yeah.
if we can't see the charts, you can still read for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
And also, while we're doing this, I mean, I think the reason why we're here is because Chuck and I parallel each other in the most almost eerie ways.
Spooky ways.
Spooky.
Yeah.
Whatever I experience, he will then experience. Whatever he experiences, I will then experience. Every single facet of it, from anything that's relational, work related, art related, family related, anything related, friend related. It is so unthinkable sometimes.
It's about as uncanny as I've ever known with anyone in my life.
Near paranormal,
where it's like we can help each other so much because we're going through the same
Good
things.
joke, Debbie. Nice one.
What's that?
Since I'm dragging along Chuck and we're
doing a drag show.
Doing a drag show?
Well,
with Antissa.
One of the things that I would like you to look at this chart is I've got Anastasia. Her chart is in the middle.
Okay.
And we have her ascendant up. So you can see that her ascendant is there. And I looked at this and I thought, well, you know what? Anastasia's ascendant is Chuck's descendant. Exactly.
Oh, so what does that mean?
Well, if you were to take and twist that outer one all the way around, then your ascendants would be not the same sign. You know, your ascendant is in Taurus and her ascendant is in Scorpio, which are opposite signs.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah.
But they're complementary.
Okay.
Like polarity, the way they complement?
Yeah, they're exact opposites, which just exact. They're on top of each other. Now your midheavens and your ICs, your lower house, your fourth house cusp, in your 10th house cusp, they're not exactly the same, but your ascendants are. And I thought that is really incredible. It's like one is at sunrise and one is at sunset.
Wow.
Interesting.
So when her ascendant, when the sun is rising for her, the sun is setting for you. And when the sun is rising for you, her sun is setting. So it's very interesting, I thought. I really don't know about that, but I think that might have something to do with why one thing happens to one person and then the other person mirrors it. I don't know how long it takes, but maybe 12 hours.
Sometimes concurrent.
Yeah.
Sometimes exactly at the same time. Oh, that's interesting.
Most definitely.
So as we look at your charts together, the first thing I'm going to tell you is you can see that there's Chuck on the outside with the red. He's got the little red planets going around. And he's got his Neptune in Scorpio. And it's conjunct Anastasia's Venus. Then you've got your part of fortune in her first house. And I thought, well, that's good. So you can go a long way, having your first house, your part of fortune right there in her first house. It tells me that it's a fortunate kind of relationship.
Yes. Okay.
And you can also help her to expand her second house of money making. Because your Jupiter is in her second house. Yes. Amazing,
Really?
huh?
I thought it'd be the other way around, but yeah, that's interesting. It's me
Well,
now.
there you go. It's your Jupiter is there expanding her second house.
Okay.
Now we'll when we'll get to your second house, let's see if her Jupiter's there. That would be very interesting.
Yes,
But
it would.
in her second house, she has Neptune and Mercury. So we go along, and also your moon is in her second house.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go along, and your Saturn is in her fifth house.
Uh-huh.
And so you can stabilize her, or is that her third house? Her third house. You might seem like an older brother to her.
I would say that's true. Yeah.
And then as we go along, you have a conjunction of her natal moon and your natal Chiron in Pisces.
Uh-huh.
So you understand each other's emotions, and you probably share things with each other. That's what I would be thinking. Now, her Chiron
Yes.
goes along, and
Oh, yes.
her Chiron is in Taurus, and it's in your 12th house, Chuck. So her Chiron's
Which
in your
means
12th house. Your moon is on her Chiron. It's like, oh man, there's a lot. You share emotional things with each other, and
oh yeah.
and secret things that you might not tell other people.
Yes. Yes.
Okay? Because her Chiron is in your 12th house. Yeah. And you kind of give some energy to those things that she has in her Chiron issues that are in her sixth house, which are daily. Her Chiron is in her sixth house. She daily is confronting those kinds of things. And that's good, because that's one way to set Chiron free so that you can help other people. I think I told you that before in your natal reading. And as we go along, it looks like her Jupiter, Chuck, is in your third house. So she gets you talkative. It conjuncts your sun and your Venus, and she expands that for you. She expands that area of your life, your small communications. You probably talk about your early childhood to her.
Yes.
And,
Probably
because that's what the third house is about. And she's going to, whether or not you know it, she's going to bring something, and you're going to start talking about how things were for you as a child, your relationships with your brothers and sisters, and also you're going to have a lot of communication going on. Anastasia has her part of fortune in your fourth house. So right now you're in Chuck's fourth house, and this is where you're going to find your part of fortune. So you probably have. I'm kind of glad you're together. It's it's a really good thing, and it's very fortunate for Anastasia. And
really? Hey, better be good.
It's a fortunate place to be. And you're going to talk a lot because there's your Mercury, your forms of communication. And she's got her Mars right on her part of fortune. And so that puts it right on your Mercury as well. And so that adds energy to it and gives some emphasis to that.
Yeah. I don't want to interrupt you, but I want to hear more about her card of fortune and me, because we've often felt we have a purpose together.
And it's your Mercury is just at the last part of Cancer, Chuck. I think it was 2944 or something, 2956 or something like that. A couple more seconds. If you're off by anything, it's going to be in your fourth house. But anyway, so it's in Leo, basically. It's in Leo. And what is Leo? Leo is, Leo likes to shine.
Yeah.
Leo is ruled by the sun. So it opens this up. It's a sunny place. Your part of fortune is there, Anastasia, and it gets Chuck talking. And also in Leo, it's in his fourth house, and it's in your ninth house, Anastasia. His Mercury is in your ninth house. So, and also he's got his Uranus is right on your midheaven.
So what does
His
this
natal
mean?
and Chuck's natal Uranus is right on your midheaven. So he probably has some genius ideas for what you could be doing with your profession.
Chuck, this is a man I met when I managed him. I was his ruler.
Karma.
Karma's a
Interesting.
But
and then you've got Pluto and Saturn kind of conjunct. It's your Pluto, Chuck, and it's Anastasia's Saturn. So there might be interesting debates and discussions between you two.
Yes. We have amazing conversations together.
I bet you do.
Joyce, there's something when you were talking about Chiron earlier and how he helps Chuck gives energy. I'm taking notes, by the way, that's what I'm doing. Gives energy to the fact that I can share this darkness, this the underworld sort of capacity that I have, that sort of death dual, that death energy. But when he helps to expand it, to me, what I intuitively felt is that he actually helps to diffuse it, so it's not so intensive and drowning for me. That it's sort of like a point of reference for communication, so that it's opened up. But I don't want to read into that, since you're the expert in this regard. I just felt intuitively that's what you meant by that, or what you were reading into.
Yes. Very well put. You put it better than I could.
Oh, stop. Thank you.
Oh gosh. And so anyway, going on, it looks like Chuck's North Node is in your 10th house. So, what he's doing with you is also bettering him.
Oh, yeah.
It's helping him move along his path.
Oh, there's no question about that.
His soul path.
Yeah.
I have to.
And then you've got Anastasia's North Node is in Chuck's 9th house or 6th house. I can't hardly see it. 6th house. So day by day, and your Pluto is there as well, I guess. You've got this Pluto that's really activating your North Node. There's no way you can get around it. You're going to have to follow that path. And it's in Chuck's 6th house. It's just everyday activities, people that he sees and works with and things that he does every day. So he just takes it in stride.
I do.
Your intensity about what you're going to do and stuff. It's just like Chuck just takes it in stride and says, yep, that's my Anastasia.
And tried not regarding his life, but regarding me, being in this Pluto, sort of a very distant, cold, dark.
But it's actually a beautiful planet. Actually, a literal red heart on the front of it. Have you ever seen the picture of Pluto?
I do wear my heart on my sleeve.
Yeah. Pluto. I think Pluto is one of the most beautiful planets in the solar system. Remember when those pictures came out about 3 years ago, and that spacecraft got as close as into it? Anyway, I don't want to get off track.
That's beautiful, though. No, I think that I think goes back to the reading that Joyce did for me, which is so much about how I'm in this death space constantly, and in this place of supporting folks who are in loss and in grief, whatever the level of grief, whether it's literal, death and dropping a body, or something shifting in life. And there are a lot of folks who certainly misunderstand that or overwhelmed by that. I've had people look at my chart and never want to meet me, who understand astrology. They're like, oh my God. And there are people in waking life who meet me and don't want to continue meeting me and want to drop me.
I want to be your best friend.
So I hear you when you say that, because it takes a special person to have the bandwidth to embrace someone like me who feels so much. It's in part because Chuck feels so much, and has a depth of not just feeling, but capacity to handle a type of person who thinks and experiences the world differently through almost like a psychic kind of prism and perspective, but also one where I think Chuck and I both see and feel the world very differently than a lot of people. And it's rare that I've met someone who not only it's not even about handling it, it's just normal. It's like, tell me more.
Yeah.
Like, I hope this isn't too much. I'm like, it's not even enough. Like, keep going.
Exactly. It's just we have
Yeah.
that understanding. It's just there. We don't have to work for
Yeah,
it. It's just there.
there's no reason to apologize for it. So yeah, I've always had to apologize for being myself.
Me
in
too.
life. And so is Chuck, which actually on a different day I'd probably cry saying that because I've been so ostracized, isolated, or I've personally isolated myself because I felt like I am too much for other people. And it's like, no, I am exactly who I need to be, and I will attract the people who will not see that it's too much, but like you can even be way more, just be you. And so that's, I think, what Chuck brings me and I bring him.
We bring that to each other.
So there's never there's nothing I don't think he could say that I'd ever be like, no.
I hope not anyway. But
we'll have fingers crossed.
But I think we both look at the world the way an artist looks at the world. We have that abstract perspective that many people don't understand. But anyway, we should let you talk, Joyce. This is
Oh no, I'm trying to get so I can open up your another.
Thinking of Greece. Tell me more. Tell me more.
I just want to make this smaller.
Well, maybe it's better just to keep talking.
Okay, I hope I don't. I'm afraid I'm going to. Do something and you're all going to go away. If I do, I'll get you right back on, okay?
Don't make us go away.
I don't want you to go away, but I can't get to my source.
Was it love at first sight?
Oh, love at first sight.
Oh, yay. Okay.
I know we followed each other right from the beginning in respect, but I think we had to get to know each other, start talking. But we connected fairly quickly.
I would disagree. I would say yes, because I was going through a particularly difficult experience with a work situation, and I was very frustrated. It had been an ongoing situation, and this day came where there was an altercation, and I made a decision. No, I'm not standing for this. I'm going to find another job right now. And I literally that night applied for a job. The next day, they're like, come in for an interview. I was hired shortly thereafter. And then that next job that I got as a result was when I met Chuck. And on my first day of actually being at that place of employment, Chuck was the first person I met of this small team that I was going to be working with. And I remember I went up to him and I was trying to, because it was a type of job where we had to have a really high level of knowledge about health and wellness and supplements, in particular, integrative and naturopathic medicine. And Dr. Oz at the time was very popular and very big, but kind of a pain in our bums in that industry. And because people would, listen to what he said and then just buy everything, even regardless of whether or not it could be effective for them or appropriate for them. But they just would buy the stuff. But in the end, my first conversation with Chuck was about Dr. Oz, and I felt myself like, oh, I have to kind of prove I know my stuff and I'm really good at what I do. But I could feel like when I started talking to Chuck, he had this kind of calming presence where I knew I didn't have to earn his love. I didn't have to prove myself, that we are on the same page. And I had this deep ease and joy that I was exactly where I needed to be. I could feel that his energy was so warm and welcoming. And I was so grateful to have left my last position to be in this new, very abundant space. It was in a part of LA that's very wealthy, very, very sort of rich and famous, as it were. And I felt a part of that. And on my lunch break that day, I was sitting, eating lunch, feeling this beautiful abundant space, feeling so lucky and so grateful. And I saw Chuck at a distance, like cleaning and doing his job. Everyone always cleaning. But no, I was sitting there eating my food, and this song came on, which, of course it could play at any time. But there's something about the timing of when this song comes on, which is Nina Simone's version of I Feel Good.
I'll remember that.
When that song comes on for me, it has very deep resonance, and my hairs stand on end, electricity surges through my body. I literally get sort of like a kundalini surge of energy up, down through my body. And I felt that song come on, and I felt it through my body, and I saw Chuck, and I was like, I've made it. I'm here. I'm literally here, and it was because I was home again. I was where I belonged, and it's because I had met Chuck, and I was also in this space, in this part. I don't want to name exactly where, but in this.
See, there you go. Chuck just being there was beneficial.
Well, it was for me too.
Yes,
it
was beneficial for you.
Why it was beneficial.
I don't want to take away time from you, but I'll just say very quickly, we were coming off the heels of a psychotic manager. She was so abusive, and she made my life pure hell. She was spreading lies around about me. So when Anastasia came, it was like water in the desert. Like, oh my God, a reasonable, rational person, a real manager, not a psychopath. And she just brought so much comfort to me. And this was someone I could respect professionally. But yeah, the friendship was definitely there right from the beginning. And here was someone who we got each other. So anyway, we should let you talk, Joyce.
I do have to say, I was rational, and yet all of this is about how emotional I am. And most people disregard me as being rational. And he actually saw the truth of who I was.
Oh, I did.
And it actually was perfect for the situation and for each of us.
It
and
was
yeah, we did both.
Well, he could see exactly who you were, because
it was love.
Your ascendants are like exactly opposite, looking at each other.
Yeah, but it wasn't romantic love though. Yeah, it was like a brother, a best friend, siblings. Yeah, it was like soul family is the best.
Well, guess what? We're gonna go on, and you're gonna learn some more about it.
Please tell us.
This is a completely different chart. Now, what you notice about this chart is, do you notice all those planets over there in the 8th house?
Yeah, holy crap. In the language. Wow.
So tell me, what does this mean?
What is going on there?
Okay, well, starting up at the top, of that 8th house, you can see 7, where Leo is, and then there's the 8th house. You've got, I think I'll start down here. You've got Venus, conjunct the Sun, conjunct Pluto, conjunct the part of Fortune, conjunct the North Node, conjunct Uranus, conjunct Mercury.
So what does this
That is one of the hugest, what do you call that? Stelliums I've ever seen in my entire life.
Insanity. Wow.
Whoa. So tell us, what does this mean?
And guess what? They're all opposing. They're opposing Chiron in the 2nd house.
Okay.
And they're square Mars, which makes it even more energetic.
Yeah.
And I just went, well, I don't have to say much about this part right here.
Well, yeah.
But when you look at a composite chart, what makes this chart up, how you do this, is you take both persons' natal charts and you combine them using midpoints. So this is all about your midpoints. And amazingly, the computer can do it just like that. And there it is. When you do your midpoints, you've got all these planets in the 8th house.
Yeah.
Now, looking at a composite chart, you look at the Sun. And the Sun is all about the ego, the vitality, the identity, and core focus of your relationship. Well, I went, well, I guess it's about love life and changes, and part of how good things are for you and where you're going to find your fortune and how you're going to expand things. And I didn't even say you've got Jupiter in there too. Expand things and what path you're on in this life and what you're trying to accomplish, and your genius ideas, your little quirks, and whatever, how you're going to communicate with each other. And it turns out that you've got Uranus and Mercury in Libra. So you are trying to balance out those things all the time. You're about balance on those things. On the other hand, it's like your day-to-day things. As when you look at a chart that starts, with Aries as the ascendant, and you go around, what happens to be where are you going to find Virgo? You're going to find Virgo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the 6th house, your day-to-day activities. And so Yeah, so this is daily. Your daily interactions with each other are going to be deep. They're going to be about eighth house things, which is sex, death, and things like you can't get away from, like taxes. But there's more to it than that. But that's what everybody always calls it. That's how you can remember the eighth house: sex, death, and taxes. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I am. Yeah. She says I'm having bandwidth issues. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay though. You come back to us.
Yeah, we're seeing and hearing you just fine.
Yeah, like it cuts out and then it comes back to genius. Yeah, genius. That's
what please keep talking. We want to hear as much as we can.
No, okay. So the next important planet, or luminary in a composite chart is the moon. And guess where the moon is? The moon is in your 12th house of your composite chart. The composite, the 6th house is all about the subconscious, the ultra conscious, your secrets, your past lives, your secrets, your emotions. Yeah. And that your emotions, you can discuss all of those things, and those are related. That is trine your Mercury and your Uranus. So that's where you get, you can talk about, you guys can talk about anything.
Oh yeah.
And we do.
And we do.
You can talk about the strangest things that you can talk to somebody else about and understand perfectly and balance it all out and move on. Yes.
Oh, she knows things I could have been fired for a dozen times over.
Likewise.
Yeah. Let's not talk about it here.
No, we're not going to. No.
We both will die.
I'm kidding. And then also the third thing is your composite Mercury. And there it is without that giant stellium at the other end. It's like you can see how they're all connected by the red line that goes for all of them. That's tough, but somehow you're doing it. And I think it's because you've got your North Node there, you've got Jupiter, the Great Beneficent there, and you're part of Fortune. So you know that even though it might be hard to discuss and get through all this stuff that you've got to circulate through for the Sun, through Venus, through Mercury, those discussions can last forever. But when you get done, it's good and you can move forward.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, actually, I mean, Chuck and I don't know why we decided to do this, but we did. We had these conversations where we told each other the worst things we've ever thought about the other person, how much we at one point couldn't stand them, didn't like something about them. But in we've known each other, 12 years. There were only like a tiny handful of things, but it still was painful. Like we went deep into the core of the worst things we've ever thought about the other person.
Right. One of the things I read is like, and be ready for some pain. And if you want to have the moon in the 12th house, you're going to experience some pain, but it's all going to be worth it if you can get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was what it said. It was talking about a romantic relationship, saying, well, now if you do their composite chart and their moon is in the 12th house, you might not want to have this relationship unless you want to go through some pain and grow.
Yeah, it was so far. We've handled it quite well. I was just going to say, it's to her credit, I only had like 4 things, and they were minor issues, really. We were just having these confessions, but it's all good. Yeah, it's just trust.
It is, and the most, and it's also there's a level of inspiration. The fact that I mean, he is Chuck's. Are you older than me? No, he's younger than me.
Only in spirit.
But having a certain level of eldership. But the interesting thing is that when I started in this relationship with him as friends and brother, sister, I was sort of the elder in the sense. I was the leader. I was the manager. But there were things about both of us where we step in at times to help guide the way. In ways that are so unexpected. Like I never in a million years would have guessed that over COVID, I would get turned on to painting, acrylic painting. And here is this brilliant artist who's painted since it feels like the day he was born, came out with with a paintbrush. Yeah, hello, mom, and obsessed with, you know, Lucille Ball, and the first person he really drew was Lucille Ball.
Yes,
and then
literally.
fast forward all these years later, I was trained as a writer. I also was trained as an actor and on stage and in music and singing and piano and these things, but never, almost ever, you know, drawing, sketching, doodling, painting, ceramics, like anything, basket weaving, underwater basket weaving, none of that. It was very much poo-pooed, we'll say. It was, I had to avoid it like the plague, unfortunately. I was even trained as an athlete, but in the end, over COVID, I was in a depth psychology program doing dream and deep imagination work. And it was encouraged that while folks were sharing dreams, we would actually draw or respond to dreams that are in the language of art and the imagination with art. And I was so uncomfortable, but I knew that there's just something where I knew it's like, well, it's like an assignment. Like I have to do it. I have no choice. And I knew that Chuck was this brilliant artist, and he bought me my first set of acrylic paints.
Her first set of paints.
And a couple just basic tips. And then I actually ended up founding Sacred Play, a workshop. That's some beautiful sort of expressive arts therapy related workshop, mostly for women, but and one lovely man. And in it, I thought I'd be writing poetry, but you know, I had these paints. I was already trying to play around with them, but I was still very straitjacketed. A woman in that community said, "I see your words on canvas," almost like Basquiat or something like that. And so she did a little one-on-one with me, and using Chuck's paints, suddenly Pandora's box just opened up. That was already starting to kind of, there were like little cracks in this damn wall, and it just gushed open. And over about 2.5 years, I ended up painting like 350 things. I ended up creating multiple companies related to my art. I made multiple scans. I made clothing. I made shoes. I mean,
all that little box of paints I gave you.
And because he and I felt like we paralleled each other, but that was one thing where we never had anything in common. And then suddenly we became like
everything in common.
We had everything in common because we acted, we sang, we you know, we wrote.
We both love to write.
Yeah, and we love.
Does that show in our
Hollywood? Chart? I mean, and then suddenly, all of a sudden, I was like, and I had not just a friend who was a fellow artist, but someone who also saw what I was doing and understood it. Because a lot of folks don't understand the type of art I do. And think it's like laugh at it, mock it. And
no, it's beautiful.
Intuitively understood it.
Well, here's the thing.
And encouraged it.
I normally am not a big fan of abstract art. I adore her abstract art. Some of the most beautiful I've ever seen in my life. Aww. So proud of her. That's a side of her I had no idea when we used to work together, that we would share these things.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it shows in our chart, but we both love to write.
We're extraordinary writers.
Well, you've got that. You've got Mercury. It's your communications, your way you write and whatnot. You've got that in that giant stellium up there in your 8th house.
Well,
and I'm sure that whatever you could do right, because it could be a little frivolous sometimes, but most of the time it's pretty deep. And it could be on the verge of genius as well, because it's conjuncting. It's right next to Uranus.
For both of us, on the verge of genius.
Yeah, in your relationship. And I don't see you guys as having so many differences, as having so many things in common.
Oh, I agree with that.
What you had in common was that you were both artists in different ways, perhaps. And I don't know if it looks like for Anastasia, you were able to crack open that barrier that she'd had to painting because she'd never tried it, and probably just like a lot of people, it's a little fearful to try it for the first time and feel like you don't know what you're doing when you've got this big backlog of all these things that you've studied all over over time. But so you were opening her pathway that she probably needed to do so that she could get on her path and go a little bit farther. And there you go. And their North Node is up there too. So that's what you're here for. Now I'm going to talk about, we talked about the things that unify you and the vital forces that you have. That's the sun. It's up there in your 8th house. But now we're going to look down at your 2nd house, and you're going to look at your Chiron. And your 2nd house is all about your meaning, the purpose, and the meaning of your relationship.
Okay,
here we go.
Here we go. Drum roll.
I'm taking some furious notes here.
Okay. And so I went ahead and, of course, I had to look up things, and I decided that I would look this up, and I've got to read it. So excuse me for putting my head down.
It's okay.
Okay. All right. So you have Chiron in the second house in Aries. And Chiron is to read it, it's 3 degrees of Aries. And Chiron is about participation in a greater life. So I looked at that as participation in a greater life. And what is Chiron? It's about understanding your hidden wounds and healing others. And that is what your purpose is here. It's for both of you. It's for both of you to learn how to uncover the hidden wounds in each other, perhaps, and help each other with those things, and help them open up and help to fix them as best they can, if they can't, and then to help others with what you learn from this.
Oh my God, I'm getting I just got an electric charge when you said that, helping others through what we've learned together. Yeah,
and individually.
Yeah,
I feel extreme, like very deep emotion, like a grounded emotion of almost like a mom witnessing a child who's really hurting, but you have the balm and you have at least some wisdom to share that will help guide their way. Even if they don't apply it now, but we have some offerings because of what we've experienced individually and collectively.
Oh, collectively. Yeah. This is all coming together because Joyce, you, Pam, and I, we've talked about this, how our shows, our channels are going to ultimately be helping people, healing people. She's going to be a part of it. She's our perennial guest star. She just rotates back and forth between all the shows. We do our live stream. And those come from?
We just got balloons.
But yeah, I feel we all have a much bigger purpose. Pam and I were discussing this yesterday, after that interview we did. All of us, we understand some things coming from an art perspective of an artist that I think confuses and maybe even threatens a lot of the world. Absolutely. And we can help to clarify and diffuse that. And I should let you talk, Joyce.
Give it your best. And I looked at that and thought, well, you've got all those conjunctions, which is what that stellium is. It's all those planets just all in there together, trying to get stuff from each other, learn things and do this and do that. It's so busy. But then there's the unifying forces that you do all that and you're going to help others. And if you got lazy and you didn't want to do that, you've got the Mars that's squaring all of it, which is a big T square. And there's no way you're going to get around it. So a T square is a planet, and it's Mars. That's you might have to argue about a few things.
Well, but we do it.
Mars is a great warrior. You might have something that you think is right, and the other person thinks they're right, and you're going to battle it out. But that's okay because that adds energy to all of it. And it helps you both understand what it is, and then you can relay that.
Creators, there is going to be that bantering, but it's healthy.
It creates new ideas.
Yes, exactly. When you know how to use it, and I think we do. We understand that. But please keep talking.
Okay, I've got another one. Let's look over there. Let's look over there at Neptune. It's up on the top.
Okay.
And I thought, well, Neptune is sextiling all those planets. So you got to put a little energy out, and you're going to have something ethereal.
Ooh.
Neptune can be put a cloud. It's like looking at through a fog, or looking through something through a glass of water. You can see it, but you might not be able to understand exactly what it is. You can feel it, but you just it's going to be there doing that for you, and you're going to be able to understand things better. You're going to see things, and Neptune is going to be there to help you. A little work, and you'll uncover that. You'll be able to dive deep because you've got Neptune in Scorpio, which is kind of like you'll be a surgeon or some kind of a researcher or something like that. You could cut through all the bull. and get right to the essence of it.
Yeah.
And that Neptune is trining Chiron. So there is an easy flow. So if you guys, aren't quite getting it, Neptune will get it and send it over to you, and you'll put a little energy into it, and you'll come up with some genius ideas.
This is making sense. You see, I've always thought maybe our purpose was to do a lot of comedy together, do something funny. I'm getting there's something much more.
Maybe that's how you'll do it. Maybe you'll do it through comedy.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah. It's there's a way by which you can communicate things that have some depth and darkness to them, because that doesn't scare Chuck and me, but it is threatening. It can be overwhelming. Again, what we were talking about earlier, that those, like, as this quadruple Scorpio, 6-time water sign, I feel so deeply. It's like I'm not just in the ocean or in the water. I'm literally at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, like there is such heaviness.
I was thinking that 7 miles
down. I mean, it is so and so it's implosive, like it could destroy anyone else. But this is normal for us. We can banter.
We thrive on it.
Yeah, we literally
superstars. You're like those, I like those people that are on those their cartoons, or like Superman and Batman and all those kind of people. Then there's a whole bunch of others that I don't know about, but the superheroes.
We're in our own Avengers here, Stellium, but But the thing is like, I think you're right, and I had the same hit, Joyce, which is that there is this depth. It could literally, just like someone who's not like, if you go into outer space without your astronaut suit on, you're gonna die like that. If you go down the bottom of Mariana Trench without the proper protection, you're dead.
Oh yeah.
So I think for us to disseminate that kind of information, or to offer it to the world, we'll have to do it in a way where there is levity, there's joy, there's silliness.
That's a good point.
Comedy is a vehicle for often expressing the most profound pain. I mean, but it doesn't mean that it's solely. I see it more like Hannah Gatsby, who a lot of people gave her a lot of crap for her special Nanette, where on the one hand it's this amazing comedy special, and then she pivots and it becomes sort of this one-woman show about really intense hurt and trauma and abuse and literal violence against her because of her sexuality. And it became this, it won countless awards. She's now in the Smithsonian. Like, they're like, everything's been, everything is, very, very renowned now because in her life, because of that special. And I feel like it made very clear in part what comedy is. It's never just little frivolous jokes, like you're saying earlier, but it can be. And also it's a vehicle for expressing, honestly, the most intense hurts that can't really be fully expressed otherwise. And yet you can also have that moment where you just say, actually, that joke about X and Y, it's in point of fact about a moment where I was almost beaten within an inch of my life and died. And then you can have this moment of like clarity and that kind of like that potential for darkness, but also that there's a light too. There is a transformation, and my name means resurrection. Like, there's going to be an ascendancy, even as Chuck is on the descendant.
Yes.
I'm on the descendant hill. I think that's the thing. We will balance. I love that Libra.
You get each other. You'll just be going around and around. You'll push each other.
Someone noted writer said, "I've never seen a comedian who did not have a tragic childhood." Most comedy is rooted in that. When I studied acting with Dee Wallace, people have this idea that comedy is light and frivolous. And she said, no, you play comedy exactly like you would play drama, with the same truth, the same pain, everything. It's more heightened reality, and you're incorporating some comic rhythm and so forth. But she said, no. And to bring up Lucy, my teacher, Dee Wallace, said, watch Lucille Ball.
Yeah.
You've got a world-class dramatic actress here who just happened to know how to play comedy very well, but there was such truth, and there was sorrow and tragedy
and pathos.
But anyway, Joyce, please.
Okay. Well, the other thing is that I looked up what 26 Scorpio is, of course, because it's 25, but it's 25 in some minutes. And so looked up 26 Scorpio for Neptune to see what the esoteric meaning of that is. And it is efficient functioning.
Us? Us?
You're Neptune, and that is for Neptune. That is going to help you with your functioning. It's going to make it more efficient. And the image that they want you to see is Indians making a new camp. You know, the American Indians, you know, the Native Americans are moving to a different place and setting up camp. And so I looked at all those planets over there and I thought, well, yeah, you could be moving from one to the other, to the other, to the other, combining them, recombining them. There's so many possibilities.
You get that we make each other more efficient. We're more efficient together than individually.
You're going to make them work efficiently together. Those energies that you've got in the 8th house.
Me? Okay.
Well, Neptune is going to help you, and you're going to work at it.
Okay. This is why
you have to work a little bit for a sextile.
Oh yeah.
And then the easy flow is going to, whether or not it's going to feed it, it can feed it back down to Chiron and say, yeah, they're making some progress here.
Yeah. No,
and then you've got the last thing I'm going to say, well, maybe not the last thing, but one of the last things I'm going to say is that you've got Saturn on the midheaven in this chart. And all I see up there is Saturn's a great teacher. He's also a great stabilizer. It's, you know, you've got your moon in Capricorn. One of you does.
I do.
You do.
Well,
yeah. And so, yeah, that helps stabilize you, whether you know it or not. You could have some,
I'm very aware that Capricorn moon definitely gives me drive and focus and ambition. That's where a lot of that comes
critical. You could be a little self-critical at times too, but
a little.
Yeah, well, you know, I like to kind of say things nicely. Anyway, but having Saturn at that midheaven is just wonderful. It's at 7. Your midheaven's at 6 of Scorpio.
Both of us.
And did I look that up? I thought I did. I thought I looked it up here. I wrote it down. Oh my gosh, I don't know. Well, I looked up. Yes, I did look up Saturn, and Saturn's at 8. I have to look him up. I have to look at 8 Scorpio, and I hope I can say this. It's about mystical love. It's about quintessence. Is that how you say it?
Quintessence.
It's almost undescribable.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that. The undescribable quality of that.
That's kind of hits the nail on the head. We both understand the mysterious, the abstract, things that can't be put in words.
And what that means with regard to the nature of our love or relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting what you're saying.
I get it. I feel it. I understand it.
Yeah.
Well, that's my reading for you guys.
Oh, no.
The other thing, I said there was one more thing. You've got a couple of these little black lines and stuff in here. And I just thought I would tell you what those were, because you've got 2 quintals and a biquintal in your chart. And quintals are like, oh my gosh, they're out of this world.
Meaning?
I've never heard of a quintal. Sorry, what is that?
A quintal. It's, oh gosh, I probably am not the best one to describe it, but maybe for another time. But what it is, it's about mathematics. You know, when you look at a chart, you've got all these numbers, and you've got 360 degrees, and you've got, you know, how many times can you divide 360 degrees by 2, by 4, by 3, by 4, by 5, by 6, by 7. And a quintal, I believe, is by 8. And it's out of this world. I look at it as genius, just like the genius of Uranus. And you've got that between your sun, your moon and Neptune, and another one between Venus and Neptune. 2 of them with Neptune. And you can barely see them. Yeah, you can be, maybe they're not even there. I just know that they're there. I know that they're there, that when you do the mathematics, they're there. Anyway, this was a magical thing for me to do. It's a magical chart. I looked at it and went, oh my, what a chart this is.
Because I take genius to mean that we tap into that genius of the universe. We
That's
channel
right.
that, we know how to utilize it. That's why I said genius. I didn't mean it in an ego sense.
I mean, yeah, jokingly, ooh, genius. But it's we are all just vessels or conduits for all that is to flow through, whatever guidance or genius or brilliance or art or song or music or dance or acting or comedy, whatever it is, just to flow through. We are
all the arts.
Conduits for anything, for anybody, or for business or for science or for whatever needs to come through. We are humble servants. We are vessels. We're an extension. We are the sort of the arm that draws the painting of God flowing through, if you will. But I wanted to speak just briefly because you mentioned Moon and Neptune, Venus and Neptune, and this sort of genius and the quintal and the biquintal and the sort of mystical mathematics and sacred geometry, perhaps. But Neptune is really, I think, crucial in the dream space and when working with what really isn't just present in the sleeping landscape, but in the waking landscape, because it's all one dream, really, at the end of the day. It's all our imagination on fire, whether we're looking at it through the landscape with eyes wide awake and open or with eyes wide shut in the darkness of night. Or whenever we happen to be resting. Neptune is really critical as a guide, if you will, or a way by which we understand sort of the mystical, etheric kind of awareness of the dream space. And it's medicine, it's gifts. And as someone myself with these sort of prophetic dreams and with this heightened awareness of dreaming and of living in a dream space and of journeying and traveling, I don't need, LSD or something. I just close my eyes, or even with eyes open, I can journey anywhere in time and space. And so can he. And Neptune is a really essential ally, mythologically, in a Jungian sense, in an archetypal sense, as well as just in an actual sense of like this sort of nebulous planet through which, we see almost like a fog into the nature of things, because we don't often get the opportunity to see, even with eyes wide open, see directly at what something is. There's always a sort of a gauze, if you will, over that. So that's so interesting that it's connecting with the moon, which for me is in Pisces and is my intuitive sort of sixth sense and ability to kind of see into the nature of things, so to speak, throughout time and space with these sort of psychic gifts, if you will. And then yet Chuck has a way that it's grounded, so we're not just off into outer space and all
we could be in trouble.
The other realms. It would be really dangerous. And then with Venus and with
she serves that role for me too.
And because my Venus is in Scorpio, right? And you've got or Scorpios in Venus, or however the hell you want to say it, but there, because it is very dirty, and that's the whole point of that. Like, he and I are like dirty old broads who just like banter back and forth, talking about the nastiest, weirdest,
my God, we got in some trouble,
explicit stuff that cannot be repeated, and yet we do repeat it largely to each other, although we've been trying to put it online, and we had to kind of take some of that down.
I had to take one down. Some
but
people got some bad comments.
But I think the world will be ready for us at some point. We're still navigating and trying to understand how to express what it is that needs to express through us, but without trying to figure it out. As you said, and as Chuck mentioned, like, we were just here as vessels to let things flow through, provided we let that, and provided that we now have this awareness and allow ourselves to have this awareness that you've given us, Joyce, that we are meant to do that because we're balanced. We're in this kind of synergy together where we can just start to explore this in new ways. And I'm really excited to see how this now pivots in our relationship and how we're presenting this information online about our hurts and our lives as artists and psychics and so on, and how that could perhaps help so many other people, mental health, emotional health, just the, how we can really live these dynamic, multifaceted lives and not feel like sideshow freaks, as I think Chuck and I sometimes felt like.
You're not sideshow freaks. There's so much magnetism from all those 8th house planets. And I want you to know that having all those 8th house planets in a past life, you were probably royals together.
What?
Royals?
King and
queen? 2 queens.
8th house, your past lives of royalty. Well, I don't know. Could have been royalty in the Native American community. You could have been, the head of the tribe, or you could have been. It could have been Celtic. It could have been something there. It could have been the Moors. It could have been the Moors. It could have been so many different things. But I looked that up and I thought, okay, I better let you know about that. Past life, all those planets in the 8th house.
Okay.
past life royalty.
Okay. Well, Joyce, if I may ask, I'm assuming if we were past life royalty, then we were public figures and we had influence on people. So that means that's carrying over now and hence a purpose with the public, like what we're doing with these streams and things. And we've even toyed the idea of doing comedy on stage together.
Yeah.
Well, you could do it. Because, that's, I agree with you guys. What you were saying is comedy. Sometimes you can say things in a comedy sketch that you couldn't say to anybody any other way.
Well, I mean, we're still learning, we're growing, we're refining. But up until like a month or so ago, we talked about this, but we had never done a live stream together. And now how many have we done now? 3? Is it? I'm losing track. But we're learning, we're growing, we're evolving. And anyway, Joyce, please keep talking. We're running out of time.
No, I don't know what else I can say. I'm like making sure I say everything because every time I do something, there's always something that I forget to say. But
I want to know more about that. We may need to talk to one of our psychic friends and go, okay, what were we as royalty?
I mean, this is something I've always felt in myself. I mean, my name, Anastasia. Obviously, there's the famous Anastasia, Romanov, the youngest daughter of the last Tsar of Russia. Some thought escaped the assassination during the Bolshevik Revolution. In point of fact, unfortunately, she didn't, but she captured the imagination of the Russian people, and a lot of girls are named after her, including me. Well, I was named after my great grandmother on my mom's side, but there is something about that name that carries with it some type of royal imprint. And incidentally, I've had some past life readings, and for me, I've been a man in every incarnation except this one, apparently. And I've been, because I came into this world like raring to go with a ton of testosterone. And I was an insane athlete, and I competed at a very high level and was very beastly and stronger than men, or worked in with men on workouts who were Olympic athletes, male Olympic athletes. So I was very sort of beastly and masculine in ways, though still presented somewhat femme, but not always. I'm very gender fluid, and I've also expressed myself in a very androgynous way. But in the end, I learned that I have been on royal courts, and often in the military, often almost like their trained assassin who would take care of the bidding for royalty, but part of the court structure, not necessarily maybe the king or queen or the czar or czarina or the tribal elder, but definitely part of what the person who needed to help execute things for the royal family, or the family that was in charge of whether a tribal or larger structure, an empire, what have you. So playing a very critical, almost soldier-like role. And there was something about Chuck where it was like, I think that he and I, were maybe on assignment together, or literally had to say, like, our lives were often at stake. And what I kind of like when you are in the military, like what you're trying to execute, whatever orders you're executing, like could literally end in your death or the death of the people with whom you're fighting. So we had to have each other's backs and work together in this sort of synergy in order to execute whatever tasks were at hand for a very high cause of literally, an entire, maybe even civilization. Like without our work, this sounds very grandiose, but without our work and efficacy, a civilization could be extinct.
Whoa, that's heavy.
but true.
So I've always felt the burden of that. And it's interesting because of the people I come from in this incarnation. We were in hiding and had a bullseye on our heads. What we were was punishable by death, just by being who we were. And we were in isolation when we were in the south of Russia, and even in isolation here when we came to the United States. And so there was a lot about having communities that protected itself, and each person played a very critical role in terms of how the community could somehow be in a public space while also being very private and very taken care of. And everyone had her own gifts to help with that. And of course, my mom took me out of that. And then I had to become very, very public and much less connected to the community. And I've been on this path of finding my community, and Chuck has been a part of that, finding who my new sort of family is, in addition to my biological family, who my soul family, soul tribe is. And they've been coming to me more and more and more.
Coming. That continues to happen because I feel like you're part of my family.
Yeah, and we feel that about you and
That's so
Pam,
sweet.
and it's just because
Likewise.
you and Pam have become her friend as well as mine, and we're just all connecting, and there's a synergy, and there's not a question in my mind the four of us are going to be working together.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's not defined yet. Well, we are.
We are.
But I mean, something bigger. I mean, and it's going to evolve. I don't think any
You
of
don't
us
even know what it is yet.
It's like the universe is working on it
Yeah.
for us.
But you've heard it here first.
That's right.
Yes,
and so so, I know you guys know what your relationship was like, so I probably wasn't telling you anything new, but isn't it amazing what astrology can say?
Confirmed.
Yeah.
Because you did a similar chart for me with another person. I won't go into that. That's a whole private thing. But I thought it would be fascinating for you to do shows like this where you have people who have other kinds of relationships, like close friendships.
You just need to find people that are willing to come and bare their souls,
Yeah, and see what these charts show and composites. Yeah.
So I hope I helped out somehow.
You have.
Profoundly.
Maybe gave you some more confidence to move forward.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a really helpful confirmation. Yeah, it's not. I don't feel like astrology says you have to do this and or else, and it can plant a little seed. It's the seed of possibility, and it kind of just can nudge you. And I feel that no matter like what steps you take, it's always the best, step. And it's whatever's meant is meant. Like if there needs to be a course correction, that course correction will happen. But yeah, astrology for me, it just kind of, as Chuck has said, it's kind of like taking the temperature. Like this is the weather right now.
Exactly.
But the weather can shift and change as we shift and change and evolve. But it gives us kind of a general map.
But that weather forecast tells you should probably take your umbrella with you to work, or wear a coat, bring a sweater today, wear a coat.
Meaning I should take my Chuck with me to work because apparently he balances me as I balance him.
You can take your Chuck with you. Yes. And I one of the next things I did, and this is an experimental kind of chart, but I did do a progressed composite chart. I don't have it in my somewhere, but maybe another time we can come on and see about where when I take your progressed charts for now.
Okay, we'd love
and then make a composite with those. What your relationship is transforming into.
Ooh!
Oh, you're gonna keep us
right now.
Finger.
I'll show you. Can you see that wonderful grand trine?
Oh wow! It's Scorpio.
Wow! You got the planets in Scorpio now, and you've got the grand trine between Chiron. All those planets up there, still in the 8th house, by the way.
Wow!
And your moon, which is now moved into your 5th house.
Yeah.
So now you can have some fun.
Can you give us a hint?
There's the hint.
Oh wait, Joyce, does that mean we can have fun with all of this work we've done up to this point and all this crap we've gone through up to this point? Now it's the time to play and have fun. It's time to put gravy on the biscuits and
have our cake and eat it too.
Well, don't get carried away now.
Oh no, what do you see?
Well, it's also a kite.
Oh, it's a kite.
But a kite is good, isn't it? A kite means
yeah. There you go. You got that kite over here. And so you've got the tail of the kite is Chiron. That's what's going to lead the way. It's going to make it balance and fly. And the top of the card is
it's the tail.
It's Uranus and your north node. Yeah. So you're going to have an unusual path.
Well, that's not surprising.
Yeah.
Not surprising.
But you're seeing very
and you guys can fly.
We can
it's all there. So it's like 26. You've got a Pluto and Jupiter right there conjunct exactly. Yeah. Okay. And they're conjunct your north node, and that's conjunct your DC, and then they're all connected. So it's Pluto, Jupiter, Pluto, transformation.
Okay.
Jupiter, expansion. North node, your what you came here at this time to accomplish.
Wow.
Yeah.
The path you should be on.
So that
and Uranus, genius.
like we're here to help each other to
It
achieve
might
our.
be a little disruptive. You might have to disrupt some things, but
Oh,
it's
yeah.
all going to be for the better.
Oh yeah. So far you're not telling us things we haven't gone through already, but this
But anyway,
Joyce, you.
well, thank you. I thank you both. I
You,
bow to you both.
well, we both love you, and we're all a family here. We really are, and it's like you and I talked on the phone last night. It's just I love having the connection. And
well, you can see that I enjoy. I have to always do something a little extra. I always have some other little papers in the background, but I thought, but I did have to say that because we got there. We got to what we're there. Thank you both for coming. I want you to come back again.
Want you to
We're
tell
at
us
an hour and 10 minutes, and so we got to wrap this up.
We'll be back.
We will be there.
This was a great show. Thank you so much
Oh, it was a
for sharing
fabulous
your lives
I'm gonna get
with
ready
everybody, and I hope this helps somebody out there.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, Joyce.
Thank you, Joyce. Love
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for coming. I love you guys.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Well, I hope you enjoyed that. It was wonderful for them to share all that information with us both, with us all. And I just want to thank you for being a part of Mystic Soul Insights. Until then, until the next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and remember the cosmos within you is waiting to be unveiled. Bye-bye.